Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I was going to put out a video yesterday, but was having internet problems here at the house. So we're going to get on with it today. There's actually been some updates to what was breaking news yesterday involving the $4 million bribe that was supposedly going to be given to one of Biden's top aides. He blew the whistle. He was one of the many that were interrogated by the Oversight Committee involving the whole Biden cognitive decline issue and the auto pen issue as well. They've been investigating both of those pretty hot and heavy lately, and they are now referring these cases over to the Department of Justice, handing them over to Pam Bondi. James Comer says he's did the legwork and asked all the right questions, knows who all's involved, and now we need to start subpoenaing these staffers that pleaded the fifth and put them in a hemmed up criminality situation, because we know they were involved. We know they were involved. And there's several people's names that have been thrown out there that were involved, including with the auto pen, including Jill Biden and Hunter Biden. So it's really getting deep. Now, James Comer called yesterday for the null and void of the auto pen pardons and executive orders that were signed by, at this point, we believe staffers, or maybe even Hunter, like I said. I got a couple things I want to get into, but first, Trump's pissed off, and you can't blame him, just because of the news we found out in the last 48 hours involving not just the auto pen scandal, but Jack Smith and this Arctic Frost case as well. It's all coming out of the woodwork, folks, and I can guarantee you this: if there is any justice at all in this country, Jack Smith will not be able to squirm his way out of this. Jack Smith, by all rights, should go to prison over his crimes. Not his alleged crimes, over his crimes, over his weaponization of government, overreach of his authority, probably a dozen things I haven't thought of, but Jack Smith needs to go to jail for the way he has treated Trump and over 100 people that have been spied on with this Operation Arctic Frost, which I'm going to give you the full breakdown by letting Fox News tell you about it, because they wrapped both these stories into one, and I want to comment on it a little bit, but I thought it was actually a pretty good commentary, so I'm going to share that with y'all too after we get into Trump's rant about what we're all finding out here together. It says President Trump called for an immediate investigation into former FBI agent Walter Garadina, Jack Smith, and corrupt lawyers such as Andrew Wiessmann and Norm Eisen. Trump wants every corrupt official involved in Arctic Frost and the Russiagate operation to be investigated. Former FBI agent, excuse me, Walter Garadina is a dirty cop. He should be, along with deranged Jack Smith, the sinister team of Lisa Monaco and Andrew Wiessmann, Little J. Bratt, Norm Eisen, and his fake charity crew, Christopher Wray, Merrick Garland, Thomas Wyndham, who dreamt up the corrupt J6 witch hunt, should all be investigated immediately. They are a disgrace to our nation. Thank you for this attention to this matter, Trump said on Truth Social. You think he putting that out there for Pam Bondi? I would say so. Maga, never forget or it will happen again, Trump said in a follow-up post. Means these people got to be punished. These people got to pay. Trump's been saying it. He's been touting it out there. These people are criminals. These people need to be prosecuted. He's saying he wants to stay out of it. But earlier this week, he said Barack Obama is a criminal in so many words. And I actually have that take for you. You stick around to the end. All right, it says former special counsel Jack Smith is under fire for abusing his power and targeting hundreds of Republicans and conservative organizations, in addition to the lawfare cases against President Trump during the Arctic Frost operation. They were literally going to try to put Trump in jail, and then they were going to take everybody that was part of Maga that argued about the 2020 election, that worked for Trump, any of Trump's close confidants. They were spying on them and looking for a reason to lock them up, including senators. Chris Wray, Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco personally signed off on the Arctic Frost investigation. We found that out less than a week ago. Norm Eisen and the crew filed over 180 lawsuits and ethics complaints against President Trump. Dirty prosecutor Wiessmann behind the Mueller-Trump-Russia witch hunt, which is now responsible for taking account giant Arthur Anderson during the fall of Enron. Damn. Walter Gardenia played a huge role in the prosecution of Peter Navarro. Recall that Navarro was put in leg irons after he was indicted on bogus contempt charges. Gardenia is also involved in Russiagate and Arctic Frost, says Senator Grassley. These people are going to jail. Gardenia was an initial recipient of the Steele dossier, of course. Wow, these people were just... And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Gardenia asked agents to use false emolument clause predictions on President Trump to dig around, basically circumventing a search warrant. Gardenia was a case agent assigned to Crimson River case, later changed to Red Massery. The case was leaked by whom it is not known, but to the Washington Post on August 24th, roughly 90 days before the presidential election, in an attempt to falsely discredit President Trump. Now, I should have done a little research on that. I do not know about this Crimson River case. Anybody that does, let me know in the comment section. I'm sure I got some listeners out there more informed than myself. Now, this is a summary of all the stuff that's happened here this week, and it's wild. Let's back it up a little bit.
Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley will hold a news conference today on the Biden administration's targeting of Republicans. House Republicans just released new documents revealing a far larger scope of an FBI investigation into the January 6th Capitol riots and the 2020 election. It was called Operation Arctic Frost, and House GOP are saying those documents show Arctic Frost actually may have targeted 156 Republican officials, lawmakers, and allies. Well, that's much longer than what we were first told. Here's House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan.
What we've learned is it was much broader, much more expansive than we ever thought. This is the same Jack Smith who we already know spied on 8 United States senators. Now we learn all this. Was this a political operation you guys are running against President Trump? How many other members of Congress did you spy on? Those are the kind of questions we want to ask Jack Smith and see what kind of answers we get from the guy who ran this whole operation.
In focus now, Jason Chaffetz, Fox News contributor, former Republican congressman of Utah. Have you ever seen anything like this? You were chairman of oversight. What is happening?
Yeah. The size and scope of this is just unparalleled. 156 people that we know of. There is a separation of powers in this country, and yet what Jack Smith is allegedly doing was just a dragnet. What was the predicate to justify such a wide array, to such a net out there? That is absolutely stunning. I'm glad Senator Grassley's on top of this. He's one of the best in the business, best there's ever been in terms of oversight. I think the numbers and the gravity of what we're going to see are going to be absolutely stunning. And how they did this, why they did this, it's just not justified. You can't go after that many people with what? And what charges were there? Relatively nothing.
Well, look, with all the documents that are coming forth now, will the public, do you think, be likely to see exactly how they were looking for these things? Because, you know, I mean, I've interviewed Senator Blackburn about this. She was on the list. She can't figure out why in the world she would be on the list. And they were using wiretaps and all of that. I think it's worth the American public knowing how far they went.
Yeah, you know, President Obama likes to go back and say, oh, he was scandal-free. But then you got to remember that it was the Obama administration that had allegations of spying on, the media, the Associated Press, James Rosen, others remember what happened in the Senate under them. Then you have Biden come along. Now you've got what Jack Smith.
I just want to pause it there just for a second before he gets into Jack Smith. What they were trying to do, that with the part they're not telling you, is they had every intention on putting Trump in jail, preventing him from becoming president again having Biden or Kamala or whoever injected in and win, and then continue to go after people like they went after Trump. And these 100 and something people they were spying on, they were looking for dirt on them. They were looking for a reason to lock them up because they thought they had Trump. They thought they were going to be able to imprison Trump. And if they would have got away with imprisoning Trump, they would have come after podcasters. They would have come after Mark Meadows, Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, anybody that was big enough of a problem to them that wouldn't shut up or that seen too much, including everybody that questioned the 2020 election. And that's why they got this 180 number. A lot of these people, I went and looked, doing a little research about it earlier, and how they come to this 180 number. Over 100 of them are the alternate electors from several states, like 10 or 15 from several different states. And because, like in Arizona, they were going to use the alternate electors after they contested the election. That was the plan in several states, like I said. And all of those people that were willing to be alternate electors were on that list to be scrutinized, spied on, most likely prosecuted. That was the plan. Just like they're throwing through the book at Tina Peters, they use censorship to shut down the questions about the 2020. They wanted to shut down everybody involved by locking them up. That way there would be no more MAGA party. They wanted to destroy the MAGA party by imprisoning them all as seditionists because they were insurrectionists or whatever the justification is once they put this bolo on all these people. But they were literally trying to destroy the party. It was obviously a master plan from most likely Merrick Garland, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, right from the top. All right, let's get back into it. It's crazy stuff, folks, but that's exactly what happened, and they got caught because they didn't win.
Smith is doing here in his allegations, and the way he went after Donald Trump with bringing cameras in tow, guns ablazing into Mar-a-Lago to go through Melania Trump's unmentionables drawer. Like, seriously? This is so out of control. There needs to be accountability. I'm just glad Jim Jordan and Chuck Grassley are on top of it, because I do think they will see it over the course of time.
Well, let's get to another investigation into dealings during the Biden era. And this one comes in response to the release of those House Oversight Republicans report yesterday. That group says Biden's pardon signed with the auto pen should be voided because the former president was not directing the signings. And it's my understanding that would be way out of protocol. Like, was he not in the food chain for that? Worthy of a probe? Attorney General Bondi posted that her team, quote, has already initiated a review of the Biden administration's reported use of auto pen for pardons, end of quote. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer laid out how serious this is.
These were unnamed staffers that were acting as de facto president of the United States. You could never find any instances where Joe Biden was actually in the room with the people who were making the decisions on use of the auto pen to sign Joe Biden's signature on legal documents. And even more, we had evidence, Maria, that there was an obvious cover-up of his mental decline. Staffers admitted that they talked about giving Joe Biden a cognitive test, but ultimately declined to do that for whatever reason.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was raging over the report.
The so-called chairman of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, continues to behave like a malignant clown. We can't point to a single thing that he's actually done to make life better for the American people.
Somebody throw
so
a
you don't
sombrero
refute
on that
it,
guy.
you just call the other guy names. That makes me want to know more about that report.
It's a 100-page report. They did transcript after transcript. Most of the time when they did these transcribed interviews, Democrats didn't even ask a question, didn't raise any objections. And for him to malign James Comer as the so-called chairman, yeah, he's the chairman of the committee, Mr. Minority Leader. I'm disappointed that he would do there, because what this report shows is that Joe Biden was not in control. The Oversight Project, of which I'm involved and engaged with, found that 88% of time, over a 4-year period, excluding public laws, the auto pen was used 88% of the time to actually affix his signature. Then when you go talk to the principals that were involved there, none of them could actually point to instances where Joe Biden expressly gave the authority to use that auto pen.
So you know what this means, folks? I believe that these people are going to go to jail. Everybody that they can prove use that auto pen are going to be referred to the DOJ as criminals. Unauthorized use of that auto pen, I guarantee there's a felony in there. Misrepresenting Joe Biden's signature. I mean, if Joe Biden wasn't there to agree to it, not that he could, but if he wasn't there to agree to it, then all that stuff is not only null and void. There's a lot of shady characters that were involved in probably selling pardons that need to be investigated and referred to the DOJ for criminal prosecution. I believe that's coming, folks. No doubt in my mind. It's all coming to a head. And now that we know that Biden's really slipping because we had a staffer, one of Biden's chief staff members, yesterday come out and literally said they were going to give me $4 million if we could just get him over the finish line for 2024. It was a bonus to the $4 million I was already getting. Now, why in the heck was Biden's staffer getting $4 million and then possibly another $4 million if he'd looked the other way on Biden's cognitive ability? That right there is just more proof of what was going on behind the scenes. It was a free-for-all. Everybody was getting paid to look the other way, or were stealing and hoping nobody was paying attention. Pardoning people probably for money would be my guess. Thousands and thousands of pardons over the last 3 weeks. Ridiculous. I knew that was going to happen. I knew Biden would pardon Fauci, which at this point, the Oversight Committee says, no, he ain't going to make it. Fauci's in trouble. And speaking of Fauci, we got James Comer speaking about it's in Pam Bondi's court now. Trump wants it done. James Comer wants it done. James Comer's already done a lot of the investigative homework of interviewing all these people. Now it's time for the criminal attachment of it, because Congress can only do so much.
Yes. And I think that the DOJ needs to take this and run. John, we've handed this to Pam Bondi on a silver platter.
Yep,
we've done all the heavy lifting. We've done the depositions. We've combed through the emails. I mean, this is the hard, tedious work of an investigation. Now it's up to her to bring these people in. If there's anything in the report that's inaccurate, if there's anything in the deposition that we reported that are mischaracterized, now here's your opportunity to try to defend the other position. If not, then the report is 100% accurate, and the pardons need to be declared null and void immediately. I would go further, but now this is me, and I would hold some of these people accountable for misrepresenting the president's health and for abusing their power as a bureaucrat in the White House that was essentially forging the president's name on pardons. I mean, you could ask a lot of questions. I know some of the people that were pardoned from Kentucky, these are wealthy Democrat donors. We heard from Jeff Zients that Hunter Biden was in the room where the decision-making was taking place on the pardon. Look, I don't think we need to say any more on this show about Hunter Biden being in the room with pardons when people have the potential to maybe be paying for pardons. We didn't go that route. We just tried to investigate the auto pen and the president's health and mental fitness. But I think the Department of Justice could go a lot further. I mean, to have Hunter Biden in the room talking about any pardons, I mean, that's pretty bad in itself. But a guy,
that means they can subpoena Hunter Biden. Let's get it. Let's have the Department of Justice subpoena Hunter Biden.
That we proved, John, and you all have reported on many times, was taking money from our adversaries around the world, peddling access for his father's position as Vice President of the United States. Having him in the room when you're issuing thousands of pardons with the auto pen,
I mean, that's suspicious in itself.
That'd be so nice to see Hunter Biden go to jail as well, for him being a deviant in our White House trying to help run our country the way they think it needs to be run, into the ground. Yeah, I do have a high suspicion that Jill and Hunter Biden were taking advantage of old Sippy Cup Joe just like everybody else was. Just sad to see. I had one more clip here I wanted to bring to y'all. Let me see here. It's Trump speaking about what it is, what's coming, what needs to be done. No, we're not with Candace Owens. I don't know what to think about her these days. Let me scroll down a little bit. You know, you're always welcome to come over to my Devoted Patriots 2 YouTube or X channel and look at things like this here, the green lights in the water. Something that's been filmed earlier this week in Florida. People don't know what the heck it is. Some kind of USO. But here's the video. But you are welcome to come over to this channel, and more than just I do podcast over here, I do a lot of reposting over there to some things that you're probably not going to see on the channel here. So you're always welcome if you are on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Same name, same channel. All right, folks. Last but not least, this is Trump getting at what's coming.
After what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So
Yes.
People say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. The shot that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard, after what they did.
I think I'm going to bookmark this one. I think I like that video. I'm going to keep it. Said that post has been deleted. Okay. Huh. At any rate, folks, that's what I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit more information about what's going on. Try to catch you up a little bit. There is a lot going on as far as all these scandals that are just kind of run into each other along the way, because you got the same bad actors in every single one of these scandals. And it's just a matter of time. We're going to start seeing prosecutions. I have to believe that. It may be early next year before we start seeing people get prosecuted, but the cases are starting to unfold like a bloom.